Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. In this episode, I want to talk about one of the biggest objections that people have when they're going from one on one, sort of personalized services and coaching to a more scalable online coaching model. And that is the loss of personal connection. And so I want to just talk about that today because that may be where you are is you really want to have a more scalable business. You want to have more control over your time, over what you're doing with various customers and being able to grow your business. But you're worried about the loss of personal connection that happens when you go from one to many, or from one to one to a more scalable online model. And I'm going to tell you that that is a normal objection that a lot of people experience as they're going about this. But one of the things that's so fascinating about when you make this transition is that you're actually able to personalize the experience even more than you could when you were doing one on one coaching or consulting or services or whatever you're doing. And the biggest reason for that is that you have more time because you have standardized your approach. You have, in most cases, sort of organized your approach a little bit more, and you're able to help more people. You can use technology, you can use various approaches so that you're able to personalize the experience way more than you actually can when you are maxed out and you're just running from thing to thing. So I want to dig into that a little bit more to really outline what that's going to look like for you as you move into a scalable business model. Okay, so let's take the one-on-one phone call as an example. So often when you're doing one-on-one or customized services for, each individual customer, what happens is you have one-on-one calls that you're having with them, and the one-on-one calls are focused on, sort of your agenda or what you want to share with them, or work that you're doing together, or if you're doing done for you services, status and questions and all the things that are happening on sort of an ad hoc basis. And what happens is when you're not owning your methodology, when you're not owning kind of the way that the experience goes to go from, the problem that they have to the solution that they're looking for, is those one-on-one calls tend to be a little bit unfocused. And you may have too many of them, you may have not enough, you may be having random conversations when you're having those one on one conversations. The difference when you move to a scalable online model is that the one on one conversations that you're having are targeted in terms of what that person is working on, what questions they have, or what obstacles that they're running into, instead of like, well, we're just going to have a weekly phone conversation or Zoom conversation or whatever. And so it's much more personalized to that individual and what they're working on when they are immersed in the experience that you have created online, so that when you are having one-on-one conversations, it's not like, oh yeah, I want you to do this work, or I want this to happen, or this, we need to have a big conversation about this. It is literally they come in, they ask their question, you are able to give them an answer as an expert, and then they're able to continue moving forward. So it's much actually more personalized, it's more focused, and it takes the onus off of you having to prepare something, because it's your expertise. If they're asking you a question or they're running into a roadblock or an obstacle, you are able to quickly help them jump over that instead of preparing and doing all the things and creating things and all the things that happen when it's a one-on-one customized solution. So that is one example, is just that one-on-one call starts to change where it is much more targeted. It is created and scheduled when it's needed, not all the time, right? So that frees up your calendar, and you can anticipate a lot of the challenges and questions and all the things that they're going to have, and put that into your scalable solution so that they may not even need to have that time with you because you have already created the answer for them within the experience that you have put together. The next example is being able to create a personalized assessment that helps somebody get exactly what they need so they're starting at the right place. So, to me, that's one of the biggest reasons why we work with people one on one is because either we have a belief or they have a belief that they need a customized solution. And when we think that way, what happens is then we provide them with a customized solution, which means that we would have, 10, 20, 50, 100 customers coming in our business, and each one thinks that they need a custom solution. And here's the challenge is that, first of all, if you're an expert, which is, you have created a business based on your expertise. So I'm going to assume that you feel like you're an expert. If you are an expert, you have a certain way that you know that you can get your customers results. If you don't, that is the very first place to start. But here's the reality is that, and I can say this based on my years of experience, is that the minute that I go away from my sort of unique approach or methodology that I take somebody on to go from the problem to the solution, and I let the client sort of, dictate the direction that we're going in, they don't get results. And so as the leader, as the person who is that they are hiring, they're trusting to help them, your responsibility is to give them the fastest path to result, which means you need to own that path. You need to take each and every one of your clients on that path. It is a disservice to your clients if you let them take you off track, right? But that's what happens so often when we're working with one-on-one clients is that, this is customized or this is different or this approach is the way that they want it because they feel like it is something that they need, but they're actually hiring you for support and help to get to the fastest path to results. And in my opinion, it's your job to give it to them. And so by structuring what you do, and I don't care if it's how you're showing up with people one on one or you're building an online business, your job is to provide them that fastest path to results. The more you own that, the more you can actually then create standardized tools and resources and training to help them get through the path that you know will work, right? To help them go from point A to point B. And the magic that you sprinkle on top of that is that your ability to help them get over roadblocks and hurdles and obstacles and all the crap that's going to happen as they start going on that journey, right? Because that's why people can't do it by themselves is because there's all this sort of stuff in the way. Your job is to be a stuff layer, right? Like and help them get over those obstacles. They're not hiring you so they can take you on a tangent. It's like if you were to go to the doctor's office and be like, "Oh, my elbow hurts." And they're like, "Oh, it's because you have X, Y, and Z." And you're like, "Oh, no, I'm sorry. Like I did a little research and I feel like it's, A and C and D." And you're as a physician, you're like, "Okay, well, go ahead and treat that and then come back if that's not working, right?" But like, why would you go to a doctor and then question, what they had to say and do your own thing, right? You wouldn't do that. You would either do your own thing and then go to the doctor when you figured out that you're not trained to be able to fix that problem, or the problem is fixed, or you decide that you're going to go to a professional, right? They're hiring you to go to a professional. So if they want to take you off on a tangent, that's great, but that's not serving them. And so as you're transitioning from one to one to packaging what you do in a consistent way, so every single one-on-one client you have is going through the same approach, to then taking it and turning it into a scalable online delivery method, your job is to get closer to that place. So by having a personalized assessment where they can start exactly where they need to start in your online experience. It is exactly the same thing as you finding out where they are and where they need to be when you're working with them one on one. So that's another example. The third example that I'll give is the one where, like I said, like your job is to help them overcome obstacles and roadblocks and hurdles and all the things as they're going down the journey. And the reality is that anyone is going down the journey from going from point A to point B is going to run into the same problems, the same challenges, the same issues, maybe in different ways, maybe, some kind of slide through them and some, get stuck in different places. But the beauty of being able to help people is also having them see that there are other people going through this journey. They are not alone and they are not unique necessarily in the challenges that they have. And so the more you can bring that conversation into something that the collaboration or a community or a discussion that they're having with other people, the more ideas that the farther and faster they can go as they're going through. And it takes you out of the only person who can provide them with the answers. So if a loss of personal connection is something that you're struggling with, I would I would argue that there are so many ways to not only create, like, get the standardized stuff out of the way, right? Like, get the pieces that that everybody needs to go through, get foundationally those built so that you can spend quality time with your customers that actually is going to make a difference, right? It's not just, kind of scooching them forward along the path, but like the specific targeted interactions that they need. That is number one. Number two is when you can give them that path, then they can see how one, where they fit on that path, but then how they're going to go through the experience and that it's consistent and you're leading it. So they have that level of confidence as they're going through it. That is a great personal connection to you as the leader, that they have that confidence that you're their person to help them. And then the third thing is, again, being able to create kind of that personalized, the automation and that personalized approach that drops them in exactly where they need to go and helping them actually achieve the result as they're going, as they're connecting with you, with the material, and with other people that are going through the experience with them. So to me, being able to add the dimensions of the technology, of an online platform, of an online community, and being able for you to be able to lead them down the path creates a much higher level of personal connection than you can even do if you're doing, kind of one-on-one meetings with them, every week or twice a week or however you're doing your customized solutions. It's much more targeted, it's much more clear, and it helps actually drive to a result faster than they could do on their own. So to me, that is one of the greatest reasons to grow and scale your business using a scalable approach, using, online tools, using automation, and being able to deliver a consistent experience. So there you go. That is my tip for today, is really think about what your objections are around losing that personal connection, and just think about the power. If you had more time where you weren't kind of monkeying around with all of the repeated things that you do on a regular basis, how you could actually increase that personal connection that you have with each and every one of your clients, even if you have hundreds of clients on your roster. All right. Until next time.